Inflation, labor shortage, and rising rental costs are among the biggest challenges facing Singapore in the near future. That was what speakers at the Straits Times Global Outlook seminar said on Friday.
Singapore's domestic demand could be a lot higher if not for the manpower shortage in Singapore. I mean, there are lots of people who will say, let's say franchisers, who will say, oh, my franchisees would have opened more branches, in malls and various parts of Singapore, but cannot find the staff.
Inflation has increased dramatically. So since mid-2006 to now, average inflation has been 3.5%. Unfortunately, interest rates have averaged 1.2%, and obviously that divergence has actually increased in real time because inflation is above 4%, and unfortunately the banks are not paying anything close to 1.2% on deposits these days, even Standard Chartered Bank. Okay? So this is the challenge. If you put your money in a bank and just leave it on deposit, you're going to lose purchasing power. In fact, we looked at this about 6 months ago, and if you put $1 million on deposit, 1 year deposit, fixed deposit, at the beginning of the decade, at the beginning of 2000, and held it in that, just kept rolling the 1 year deposit, that $1 million became worth $920,000 in purchasing power terms.
The 400 participants at the seminar, who are a mix of business owners, investors, traders, and finance professionals, agreed that inflation and labor shortage will be key concerns for Singaporeans in 2013.
Is the manpower shortage. And we've also conducted several surveys, and that has always come up as very preeminent. And also the rental costs, which eats very much into their business overheads.
The inflation?
Well, I think foremost on most of Singaporeans' minds is inflation.
While the Straits Times news editor, Mr. Ignatius Low, painted a bleak outlook for 2013, Professor Tommy Koh, ambassador at large, was bullish about the world economy in 2013 during his keynote address.
In our region, trade liberalization and economic integration are life, and they are being driven by the two complementary processes of TPP and RCEP. So this is a good news. In view of all the above, my prognosis for 2013 is that it will be a more peaceful and prosperous year than 2012.
The speakers at the seminar also offered insights into the two biggest economies in the world, China and the USA, and how their recent leadership changes will impact Singapore.
We should keep in mind the fact that Obama is not someone who relies too much on personal relationship in his foreign policy dealings. He's not like George W. Bush. He's not going to look into Xi Jinping's eyes and see his soul. That's not going to happen. He's much more comfortable with a multilateral approach, and I think that is really what is at the heart of his Asia pivot strategy. And my personal sense is that the best we can hope for in the next 4 years is perhaps a more business-like approach in US-China relationship, and I think in the long term that's probably not a bad thing.
For 10 years you have Hu Jintao who was really stiff, robotic even, and this did not go unnoticed by the Chinese netizen, and they were talking about it online, how this new boss of the Communist Party is more relaxed, more like one of us, in fact, and even the content of his speech was a lot more less of the slogans, the catchphrases that Hu Jintao loved to use and pepper his speech with all these almost meaningless slogans. So a netizen actually said that Xi Jinping said more renhua, human language, suggesting that what Hu Jintao said before was some kind of alien tongue.
Participants at the seminar were impressed by the breadth and depth of the issues covered.
I think the benefits of an optimistic view from Professor Tommy Koh and the way he actually, made us aware of so many issues around the region, the world, Singapore, and what are some of the initiatives that Singapore has also made leeway with.
I'm actually a sell traders. I guess definitely it's affecting me, but I need to know what are the risks that I actually have, and based on the risk itself I can actually sees what other measures then I can actually take.
We live in an integrated society. So what aspects that happen in United States, like the recent elections, as well as in China, would have an immediate impact in Asia as well as to Singapore. So that, we appreciated, some of the viewpoints that was given politically as well as economically.
We're very happy with the turnout. I think we got better than expected turnout. A very positive one. We believe that aside from providing the news, people also want to know a bit more of the backstory, And if you look at our network of correspondents, there's nobody who has committed so much resources to building a regional network of correspondents as we do.
For full speeches and panel discussions, check out our other clips.